Man, it's the T-Train Show. Y'all know what time it is, man. What up, T? What up? Hot Rod. What up? L-Train. Y'all know what time it is, man. It's the Three the Hard Way. Three the Hard Way. Cleveland's finest, y'all. The biggest and the baddest sports show.
Welcome to another edition. You know who we are by now. Three the Hard Way. Let me introduce my fellas. We got a lot to talk about today, but I got to introduce my fellas as always. First off is the influencer, the host of one of the hottest podcasts starting to grow right now, The Locker Room, Mr. Hot Rod, Rodney Young. What's going on, Hot Rod?
What is going on through the Hard Way Nation? What's going on, fellas? Y'all know who this is. It's your friendly neighborhood coach. And you know what I say. You may not like what I'm saying, but you will listen.
And the man, the captain of our ship, Mr. Terrence Austin T. How you living, man?
What's going on, everyone out there in Three the Hard Way Nation? What's happening, fellas? Let's get this ship underway. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's go.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. You know, a lot of people have been, checking in with us, trying to get some information, trying to figure out what we feel about this Cleveland Browns coaching search. I'm not surprised that it's not wrapped up by now. I thought that this would be a long process. I guess I can honestly say that I am surprised with some of the candidates that are left, but we're going to dive into that. Fellas, when you look at where the search is right now, there are some people that are happy with it, believe it or not. Some people are kind of lukewarm on where the coaching search is, and there are some people that just don't like it, that think it's a total mess. Give me your thoughts about where you think the Cleveland Browns coaching search is right now.
Well, just curious of what direction they're going to go in. Yesterday, I listened to Saturday programming, and they were talking about the Udinski fella, I guess, with the Rams, right? The wide receivers guy, coach or whatever.
Udinski's with the Jags.
Yeah.
With the Jags. Okay, well, who's the guy that's with the Rams?
Nate Schoolhouse.
Schoolhouse. Okay, they were talking a little bit about him and how they think he would really, really, really fit the mold. Okay. Again, a couple weeks ago, I was all about big names, but no big name is coming to Cleveland. Okay, no big name is coming. Why would you come there? So, I got to the point where, hey, let Jim Schwartz do it. Okay, he's already in house. He knows the system. He knows the players. He's got the players' respect. If he doesn't get it done, hey, he'll be out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry. But based on the pool that's out there for right now, I'm okay with Schwartz. But I'm hearing that they want to go offensive. They want, offensive. That's why, Udinski, the guy from Jacksonville, comes into play, as well as the gentleman from the Rams. But, hey, there's still, 7 openings out there, including us. Where this thing is going to go, I don't know. But every day I turn on local Cleveland radio, which I do every day,
Yep.
and you're just hearing something different. So I don't know where we are. Again, but I want them to hurry and get someone in place, okay, before the draft comes. Because again, we all know we got needs on the offensive line and at wide receiver. So let's get somebody in play. Again, for right now, I'm okay with Schwartz, but there's a lot more to be said and to be done.
So, what's going on is this. So, just found out Mike McCarthy took the Steelers job. Sean McDermott is still out here, who was fired from Buffalo. When it comes to the Browns, my thing is, I think Jim Schwartz is the emergency break glass if needed. I think they've already had conversations with Jim Schwartz that if they do bring in a head coach, he will remain the defensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. And I think what they'll end up doing if Schwartz stays as the DC, I think they will pad his pockets. They will make him the highest paid DC in the NFL, just because of him sticking it out. Between Udinski and Schoolhouse. Udinski has really picked up some traction. They from all reports that he had a wonderful second interview with the Browns, but they really like Nate Schoolhouse because he's under Sean McVay. They really like him. So they're going to have the opportunity to talk to him on Monday. They'll have a conference with him on Monday because the rules state whether they win or lose that he can interview. I think the Browns are really leaning towards Schoolhouse because of the Sean McVay tree that he comes from. But if all else fails, they're going to fall back on Jim Schwartz. Udinski is the outside. I think they'll have a little apprehension with Udinski because he doesn't have a lot of NFL experience. I think, but he did wow them, so we don't know. It's the Browns. But you're not going to get a brand name coach. I wasn't expecting Harbaugh. I didn't want Harbaugh, to be honest with you. We can get into that another time because I'm not a Harbaugh guy. We know Jeff Hadley went to the Miami Dolphins. Robert Saleh is now the head coach of the Titans. And Jesse Minter took the Ravens job on Friday. So you still got Buffalo. You still got Buffalo, Arizona, and the Browns, of course, and the Raiders that are still out here. So I think the Browns, as much as people think that they kind of fumbled this, I think they've really done their due diligence. I think they don't want to retread. I think they want someone who can turn the offense around. I believe the Browns believe that that's all that they really need is a head coach that can bring some accountability in, but also can take Shedeur, turn him into a quarterback, and actually get the pieces that's needed to turn this offense around. Because the North is up for grabs now. Honestly, they're really up for grabs because I think Pittsburgh is going to retool. I do. I just really feel that right now. So, Schoolhouse is in the lead.
Now, Hot Rod, didn't you say that the Browns want to keep Schwartz in place if they bring a new coach in? But didn't you say that's kind of risky because a coach wants to come in with his own guys, okay? His own team, his own players, and then also too, his own, other coaches. Also too, with Schwartz, I hear that the 49ers are going after him heavily to be their coordinator. They're going after him real hard, okay? Mm-hmm. Also, aside from that, are there some other, teams, the few teams that are left out there looking at Schwartz as well? Is he interviewing with other teams as their head coach? And again, like I say, the 49ers are going after him hard.
So, from what I understand, there are really no other teams that are going after Jim Schwartz. The 49ers are pursuing Jim Schwartz because they lost Robert Saleh. Here's the difference between what Saleh is dealing with and what Schwartz is dealing with. Number one, I don't think Schwartz is going to make a unilateral move to stay as a defensive coordinator. I think if he were to leave the Browns, it would be either A, to retire, or B, to become a head coach. Number two, he has the ability to coach Myles Garrett. Look at what Jim Schwartz has done in Myles Garrett's career since he's been there. Now he beat the sack record. Look at what he's done with some of the defense, Denzel Ward and those guys. Look at what Jim Schwartz has done. He has galvanized that locker room. Plus, he's a man of accountability. And that's what the Browns need. Now,
sure do.
There is no way that they're going to allow Jim Schwartz to walk. If Jim Schwartz says he was leaving, that would put pressure on the Browns. And I don't think the Browns want him to walk. That's why I believe they're going to bring in a young kid. To answer the one question you asked is, yes, no tenured, self-respecting coach, and I don't want to use that word self-respect. Let me take that back. No coach who has tenure wants to come in and be told, here is who he has. But a young coach who's never been a head coach will do exactly what the organization will ask him. So if Schoolhouse comes in, Jim Schwartz is his DC. If Udinski comes in, Jim Schwartz is his DC. Jim Schwartz is the only solid that when either one of these coaches come in, that's going to be there. He can build the rest of his staff however he wants, but Jim Schwartz is going to be the DC for the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
The one thing that's always thrown around, the one word, in my opinion, that you hear a lot in sports, when especially when you talk about coaches or you talk about GMs and owners, everybody throws around the word culture. And I was talking to T about this pre-show. It's funny how no matter what the changes are, like watching these games today, no matter what the changes are, whether it's a head coaching change, whether it's a quarterback change, whether it's a GM change, there are certain organizations that just has this thing figured out. The New England Patriots lost Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, all right? And they had a couple of down years, but now they're back in the promised land. That is because within that organization, there is a great culture. There is a standard. You can say the same thing about the Rams having an opportunity today. You can say the same thing about the Seahawks having an opportunity today. You can say the same thing about the Denver Broncos. You could argue that maybe the Denver Broncos would have made it to the Super Bowl today if they would have had their quarterback, Bo Nix. Who knows? But these 4 teams have a culture of being able to get there. The Cleveland Browns do not have that culture, and they're running this search like they are because they don't have that culture. Like, I know that there are probably some candidates out there that are tenured candidates, that are proven candidates that want nothing to do with the Cleveland Browns. I just don't think that there's enough of them. And again, I'm not on the inside of this search, but I always believe that money talks. You look at a guy like Jim Schwartz and the San Francisco 49ers coming after him. I think Jim Schwartz is very happy in Cleveland, but to be a defensive coordinator, having the opportunity to go out to San Francisco and be with that squad, if the San Francisco 49ers really want him, they're going to throw a lot of money at him. And listening to what Hot Rod just said, they're probably going to make Schwartz, the Cleveland Browns, the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league because they are going to have to. Teams are going to have to come out and get them. The Cleveland Browns are botching this search because they're not starving to win. And I said it last week, and I'm going to stand on it on 10 toes. Like, you have to be ready to change this thing, and you can't be willing to cut corners. Now, if the Cleveland Browns want to go the young route, I really like the Udinski guy just because I have a little bit of familiarity with him. He is a genius of a kid. He knows the offensive side of the ball. I don't know if he's well-rounded enough at this age. I know there's been multiple conversations on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show about, is he well-rounded enough to deal with what he's going to have to deal with in Cleveland? I know he's going to be good on the offensive side of the ball, but will he be good with other things? I just have a problem with proven, qualified coaches being out there for the Cleveland Browns, and they're not aggressively going after these guys. And so what's going to happen is in a few years, if things aren't working out, you're going to be able to go back and pinpoint how the search was done, how aggressive they were to be able to bring in a guy that's proven to be able to turn this franchise around. And I'll say this is my last comment on the search. You know, I graduated from business school, and rule number 1 in business school is supply and demand. And I believe part of this is the Cleveland Browns fan base is a passionate fan base. And here's the one thing I know about Cleveland Browns fans. No matter what, we have proven this as a fan base. We are going to show up, fellas.
Yes, we are.
Whether the team is good, whether the team is bad, we're going to go down there to that stadium. We're going to buy the jerseys. We're going to buy the tickets. And the Cleveland Browns ownership knows this. And so as long as there's really no supply and demand, or there's no hit to their pocketbooks in terms of support from the Cleveland fans, the ownership is going to continue to do what they want to do. They're going to continue to cut corners. And that's why the search is what it is with the Cleveland Browns. I hope this works out for the Cleveland Browns, man, but I am not optimistic on this whatsoever.
Let me throw this at you guys, because listening this week, listening to everybody talking, when you talk about these tenured coaches coming to Cleveland, why would they want to?
Money.
I mean, think about it. Other than that's it. But when you look at Harbaugh, he went to the Giants. Who does he have? He has Jackson Dart. Okay. Kevin Stefanski's reunited with his boy down in Atlanta. That's what he wanted. Okay. And don't be surprised if Atlanta and Cleveland make a deal for Dylan Gabriel, because that's his guy. So he'll give up a 5th round for Dylan. Okay.
Yep.
Look at Jeff Hafley. He went to Miami. Who's there? Tua Tagovailoa. So he's got that there. You know, Robert Saleh is with the Titans. So when you look at where Jesse Minter has now inherited Lamar Jackson. And unfortunately, what I'm saying is, because I'm not a Shadurian, I have to say this.
Yep.
A lot of these coaches are looking at, when they come in to Cleveland, number one, the organization is dysfunctional. We've already established that from Jimmy Haslam down. And now you have Deshaun Watson, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders and all of that. Does a head coach who's tenured want to deal with that? No. They want something that's more established. So I believe, to be perfectly honest, none of these tenured coaches were going to be considered. They interviewed them, Todd Monken, all that. They interviewed them, but I think they were going the young route anyway because of the quarterback room that they have. They can't draft a quarterback in the top rounds. They're out of it. So now you got to deal with what you have. And so I think these younger, more energetic coordinators have that ability to do that, to be that head coach, where these tenured ones don't want to go through that process.
Right. And you know what, Hot Rod and L Train, 20 years from now, we may be talking about one of these young coordinators popping to be, hey, the next Bill Belichick or the next Bill Parcells or whomever, okay? Because one of these guys, law averages says, is going to pop. One of them's going to pop. So whoever we choose, my prayer is just that they pop, okay? Because again, like I say, I want to win. I'm the guy who's lived in 5 different cities up and down the East Coast, and no matter where I live, my Browns flag is planted in my front yard. People know who my allegiance is to, no matter how far away I am from the city of Cleveland. So I got you.
Right.
Hey, I agree with 1,000% with what Hot Rod said. 1,000% with what Hot Rod said. But I will say this, like, you will miss 100% of the shots that you don't shoot. And I believe that there are coaches out there, again, that don't want to have anything to do with the Browns. I guess the information that I would want to know is, all of the 10-year coaches, have the Browns picked up the phone and have all of these coaches told the Browns no? If that's the case,
I doubt it.
I'll live with that.
Right, yeah.
I'll live with that.
You got a point, L Train. You got a point.
But
You got
if
a
you're
point.
trying to change the history of a franchise that has never been pretty much nothing but disappointment, I'm not going to hire, I'm not on the forefront of my search, I'm not going to hire young kids to do this job. And I'm not throwing these guys under the bus, because they have more acumen than I will ever have in the game of football. But I just have a hard time looking at the Cleveland Browns. I'm 52, so I have a 52-year history with this team. And I know what works with this team and what hasn't worked with this team. And I guess I'm just to the point where I guess I'm just a little starving to have somebody that I know can come in here and turn this thing around. I hope one of the candidates that's still out there that the Cleveland Browns are considering, man, I hope they do it. I hope they're the next Sean McVay. I hope and I wish and I pray for the franchise and for the fans, because I know the fans in this franchise really deserve it. So I'm right there with you, Hot Rod. I think a lot of these, why would a Mike Tomlin? Why would a Harbaugh? Why would you could throw a McCarthy. You could throw any of these guys in there that are established. What's enticing them to want to come to the Cleveland Browns?
It would just be money. It
would just be money. And do you want a coach that's just in-house for the money? That would be, that would be the next question. So we'll continue to monitor the search, man. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. A little bit of good news before we dive into the NFL playoffs, fellas. There's been a hire by the Ohio State Buckeyes. New offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Man, Ryan Day has reach in the NFL. The people that he's pulling out of the NFL to come to the college game is really, really impressive, fellas. What are your thoughts about the hire?
Yeah, I just recently learned about it. Didn't he come from Pittsburgh most recently?
He was Pittsburgh.
He was with Pittsburgh. Right. Yeah, most recently. And where did Hartline go? Where is he going?
I think it's Southern Florida, if I'm not mistaken. Hot Rod.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll let Hot Rod take it. Yeah, I just recently learned that. Again, I think, the Buckeyes are saying, okay, that Indiana team is for real. So we got to do something. We got to be ready. We got to one up them. Okay. We got to one up them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a start right there. So again, from what I know of him or what I remember of him, he's a solid guy, solid football guy, and he's coming in ready to work. So good for our Buckeyes. Good for them. Go ahead, Hot Rod. Good for us.
Yeah, Arthur. I mean, you think about it. Ryan Day does have some pull because you got,
Oh, man.
you have Arthur Smith. You know what I mean? Your defense.
They have culture at Ohio
run
State,
by
culture
by
as a
Matt
standard.
Patricia.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
exactly what it is. It's culture, and he
Yep.
brought in guys that's going to be able to continue the culture. And so Arthur Smith, I'm looking forward to Arthur Smith dealing with Julian Sain and his maturity of the pro game that's getting ready to take place.
Yep.
Like I said, Matt Patricia with the defense is getting ready to retool.
Yep.
And I think Ryan Day jumped on Arthur Smith saying, I got to deal with this Indiana ball club
Yeah.
because they not going
I need
nowhere
you.
no time soon. So
I
I got to
need you.
figure this thing out. And kudos to Ryan Day for realizing, because you got coaches who coach with ego. And Ryan Day could have easily said, I don't need an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I'll run it
Yep.
myself.
That's
He
right.
He
Ego
said,
aside.
no, I see what I did. I can't do this. So let me get somebody who can do this, and I can just be the head coach. That takes a lot of guts to be able to say, no, I can't do this on my own. I got to get somebody in here that knows what they're doing. So shout out to Ryan Day for, gee whiz. Next thing you know, he gonna have Lawrence Taylor as his linebacker coach. He has some
might.
kind of pull that
might.
I didn't know Ryan Day has. You know what I mean? Some of these college coaches need to figure out his Rolodex. I
Yeah.
would be interested to know that conversation that Ryan Day had with Arthur Smith to
Yeah.
pull him away from the NFL. I
It's
would
incredible.
love to hear that conversation.
Yeah. And you know what? It's easy to come to a program like Ohio State. Like we
Mhm.
said in the previous, section, talking about how can you get somebody to come to Cleveland? Hey, they'll run to Ohio State. That's
They
a winning
running.
program. Yeah,
That's
they're running
right.
to get there. Yeah. So that's not
Yeah.
a hard sell. That's not a hard sell.
And who knows what Matt Patricia told him? You got to understand, Matt Patricia's been in the NFL for years. You don't know the conversation that was taking place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if Matt Patricia would have put his name in this coaching basket in the NFL, he would have been one of the top guys that teams would have wanted. He
Yeah.
decided to stay at Ohio State. That's culture. That's a winning culture. That's an opportunity to win a national championship. And it doesn't mean that Matt Patricia won't end up back in the NFL. It doesn't mean that Arthur Smith won't end up back in the NFL. I'm going to give y'all a hot take right now. Here, y'all
Okay.
ready? I
I'm
think
ready.
Mike Tomlin is going to go back to college. I think he's going to take a year off, but I
That's
don't
hot,
think he's
Rod.
going to run
see
back to the NFL. I
Right,
think he's going to go the college route, and
can
he's
see
going
that.
to become a college head coach
I
and
can see
then
that.
come back to the NFL. So I think he's going to take this year off, but I don't see Mike Tomlin running back to the NFL no time soon.
Right. I agree.
They don't call you Hot Rod for nothing. That's a hot
Hot
take
Rod
right there,
with a
man.
hot take. That's right.
Yeah.
Man. I thought the Arthur Smith hire was absolutely fantastic for the Ohio State Buckeyes. What a lot of people don't know about Arthur Smith is that his background is enhancing running games and offensive lines. So
Okay.
you're talking about a guy like Bo Jackson. He get a chance to work with him. I think you will see a drastic improvement in the Ohio State running game. I think that's one of the reasons why Ryan Day plucked him out of the NFL and brought him to Ohio State. Keep your eye on this, fellas. Arthur Smith's dad. I don't know if you guys know who Arthur Smith's dad is. Arthur Smith's dad was the founder and CEO of FedEx.
Okay.
There's a lot of money.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
There's a lot of
Wow.
money in that family, and that will directly affect Ohio State's NIL.
Big time.
Come on.
And big,
Okay.
big.
We'll have our very own Mark Cuban then, huh? We'll have our very own Mark Cuban.
There you go. Yep. Indiana has already laid the blueprint out.
Blueprint
there.
out how to do it. Right.
So I'm not saying Ryan Day, that's why he 100% went with Arthur Smith. but I do think it's part of the equation, fellas.
Right,
I
right.
do think it's part of the equation. So I think it was a really, really good hire, man. Everything is looking up for Ohio State. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to touch on that because I think that was a big announcement that came out a couple days ago about
Yeah.
Arthur Smith. So
And L
real-
Train, you talked about his play with the offensive line and the running backs. That'll even improve things with our wide receivers who are already great. You know,
absolutely.
that'll open it up for them as well. That'll open up for them.
Yep. And ease the pressure on our fantastic quarterback that we have as
There you
well.
go. There
Giving
you
him
go.
a running game that he can lean on a little bit more, which is going to make him a little bit more efficient. Playoff game today, fellas, in the NFL, the Patriots and the Broncos. You know, I've heard a lot of different perspectives on the game. I was a little
Yeah.
disappointed that Bo Nix couldn't play, man. I'm
Yeah. Oh yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wish Bo Nix had an opportunity to be out there. I was, again, Hot Rod, I was telling T before we got on, I was like, man, you know, there's a chance that Bo Nix may not ever get back to this point.
Right.
You know,
right.
to lead. I mean, look at Dan Marino. You lead
Yeah.
a team to this
Yeah.
point, you break your foot, and you're not able to
Yeah.
play. Man, I just
Yeah.
I just feel bad for him. But what were your thoughts about the game? It started off with pretty decent weather, and then it turned into a blizzard. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a good game. Now you talk about injuries. It kind of reminded me of 2015 when we didn't have Kevin Love and Kyrie. You know.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
it kind of
Yeah.
reminded me of that. But getting back
Yep.
to today, yeah, Stidham played good, but he just kind of came up short. Okay, both of those teams' defenses too as well showed up. Okay, the defenses played lights out because in the second half the field conditions just continued to deteriorate and get worse. So it was all going to come down to who could protect the football. Okay, who could protect the football and be safe and manage the clock. And, you know, unfortunately, because I can't stand that New England team, they were the ones who came up victorious in the end, you know. And
Yep.
it's something, the Patriots, sometimes luck is just sometimes on their side too, because they, you know, didn't really, you know, beat anybody this season, but they beat the teams that were in front of them, okay? And their
Yep.
plus and minus, they were way ahead of everyone in the NFL. So the teams that lined up in front of them, you know, they beat them, even the Cupcakes, okay? Now, they had a great win down the stretch against Buffalo. So you got to give them credit, okay? You know, Vrabel did a heck of a job.
Yeah, he did.
You know, yeah, he did a heck of a job, man. He turned that thing around in a couple of years. So hats off to him. And it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Some organizations just have that DNA. They just have that standard. They just have it where, you know, their structure and they make things happen no matter who's the coach, no matter who's the quarterback, no matter who's the coordinator. They just get it done. And New England is just one of those, you know, franchises. So unfortunately, they are back. They're back and they're good enough to win it all. They're good enough to win it all.
So we go back to that word standard. New
Yeah.
England has a standard. As
Standard, yeah.
long as I know Belichick is gone, Brady is gone, but whether you like him or don't like him, Robert Kraft is still the owner. And
Yep.
so there's still a standard.
Standard.
There's
Yep.
the Patriot way. And they got guys that came in there that understood the Patriot way. But the key is they went and got a head coach who not only understood it, he played in it. So
now, Hot
it
Rod,
was-
not to cut you off,
Mhm.
but who was the gentleman that was the head coach before Vrabel that got the 1 year?
Oh,
That was the brother. Yeah, the brother
yeah,
that played.
I'm zoning right now.
Yeah, I'm
me
looking
too,
right at
me
him.
too.
I'm looking right at
But-
him.
but
But the
I
fact that they
know
made that change, man,
Gerard
it looked like
Mayo.
it was good.
Yeah,
There you
Gerard
go.
Mayo. Yeah, Mayo.
There you
Yep.
go.
Gerard
Yep.
Mayo was the coach prior to Mike Vrabel coming, and Gerard Mayo had that same squad, but I think they won like 5 games.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gerard Mayo had that 1 year, but it was Mike Vrabel who came in, okay, and Mike Vrabel reestablished the culture,
Mhm.
and he brought some toughness back to the Patriots, and then you got Josh McDaniels, who's the offensive coordinator. These guys
Offensive genius.
were up under Bill Belichick. These
Right.
guys, they understood the culture. And then they went and got a quarterback in Drake May, and they let him go through his growing pains, Cleveland Browns. They let him go through his growing pains, and then they taught him how to be a quarterback. And today, in this blizzard, okay, today in this blizzard, Drake May made more plays.
Sure did.
Okay, he made that fourth down, that fourth down play. He ran
Clutch.
for it. That was gutsy. Okay, but
Clutch.
Drake May Drake May can play.
Yes, he
And
can.
yes, I would have loved to see, just like you said, L Train, I would have loved to see Bo Nix. I
Yeah.
feel bad for that young man because he scraped and he fought and he clawed and he got right there. And to break his ankle was just unfortunate. You know what I mean? And as much as I don't want to see the Patriots back there, they did it the right way. They had
They
the
did it.
down years, but they built. They Stephon Diggs, they built. You know what I'm saying? So now I think, and on the other side, and we'll talk about that in a second, you know, can New England win the Super Bowl? Do they have that? And like I
Yeah, they
said, it's the culture. When we talk about culture in Cleveland, you look at what New England is doing right now. Oh, and by the way, was it Mike Vrabel with the Browns last year? Wasn't
Yeah.
There you go.
he
There you go.
became the defunct offensive line coach?
Yeah.
Okay. And you let Mike Vrabel walk. Why? Well, look at what he did. Because
he did.
he did it in Tennessee, and now he's doing it in New England. So
go.
congratulations
Yeah,
to
that's all you can do.
to New England.
Tip your cap. That's all you can do.
Yeah. Whenever you have good culture, you know, everything becomes Teflon. Nothing really affects you. You look at, it's not like New England, fellas, hasn't had some distractions. You can look at the distractions with Stephon Diggs and stuff that he's going through. Robert Kraft had some issues, a couple of years ago.
Yep.
You know, you had the one and done coach there. All these things.
Aaron Hernandez.
All these things could have decimated an organization. But when you have, like Hot Rod just said, when you have good culture, everything becomes Teflon. You just keep plugging away, and you know that you've got that infrastructure that is going to lead you to the promised land. And that is what the New England Patriots has done. So hats off to him, man.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Vrabel's done a fantastic job. I was upset when they let the former coach go after a year. I think you have to give the guy a chance. Robert Kraft said he wasn't ready for the job, but it seems like he's been vindicated in that with Mike Vrabel coming in first year, getting the New England Patriots to the Super Bowl, man. So again, hats off to him. Hats off to him.
Yep.
Guys, do you think when you look at the New England Patriots and you look on the other side of the bracket, we are taping this while this game is going on, so we really don't have an update on the game right now. But you have the Rams and the Seattle Seahawks on the other side. Both teams could give the New England Patriots a run. Do you think one matchup favors the New England Patriots over another?
Ah, boy, that's tough to say. You know, I was telling my neighbor this morning, you look back at that game last week for the Rams to go into Chicago, no drop passes and no penalties under those conditions of minus 400 degrees and to get a win, okay?
Yeah.
So you got to give them credit for just being a solid, well-oiled machine. Okay,
Yep.
you just got to give them credit, and and Stafford, he's playing his behind off. Great team. And then on the other side of the ball, Seattle, even though, L Train, they got your boy Sam Darnold, who can turn into a pumpkin at the end. But that's a great team as well, too.
Yeah, it
Okay?
is.
That's those Seattle Seahawks, because all they do is win, especially on the road. You
Yeah.
put them on the road, they'll win. Just like I think New England won all their road games this year, too, as well.
Yep.
So that NFC opponent is going to be tough, whether it be the Rams or whether it be, Seattle. I think we're going to be in for a good Super Bowl, whoever, it turns out to be, from the NFC. And I got it on in the background, and it's a good one. So, again, can't wait to see. But I tell you, that Rams team, again, to go into Chicago last week and, beat that team, I tell you, with Caleb playing as hot as that he's playing, Caleb Williams is kind of like how Halliburton was in the playoffs last year in the NBA. Remember how he just wouldn't lose? Caleb was kind of the same way. So it's going to be a good one. I don't know what matchup favors whom, but I just know that NFC team, both of those teams are tough. Rock solid tough.
So the matchup to me that favors New England would be Seattle. And the only reason I say Seattle is kind of Cap just kind of touched on it. It's Sam Darnold. What Sam Darnold are you going to get? Now, I will say this because I've heard you say this, L Train. Sam Darnold in Seattle has been coached. He's been coached not to lose the game. He is a game manager. If you look at how he played last week, he was 12 of 17 for 124 yards, 17 passes in that entire game. They're managing Sam Darnold, okay? But in terms of who I would love to match up with New England, right now, I don't know if you want to see Matt Stafford. I don't know if you want to see Stafford. Stafford is on his game right now. Stafford is in a zone. And I don't know if between him and Puka Nacua, I don't know if you want to see the Rams right now. Their defense is pretty good, running around, flying around. So that's why I'm anxious to, take a look at the game. Don't tell me the score. I want to go see it. But I think if I want to knock down, drag out Super Bowl, I want to see the Rams play the Patriots. If I want to see, one team dominate the other, then yeah, Seattle can be there. But I'm not. It's hard for me to be a Sam Darnold fan. It really is. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Can't argue with that. Can't argue with the matchups. I got a email that I wanted to read for you fellas, and for the three to Hard Way Nation, we're going to get back to reading some of the mailbag stuff. I know we've kind of gotten away from that because I know you guys send in a lot of questions. But the one question that I got this week that I said, when I get on the show, I'm going to throw this to the fellas, was from Diane, who lives in Louisiana. And she mentioned to me, she wanted to know if Kevin Stefanski was such a bad coach in Cleveland, out of all the candidates that are out there, why would the Atlanta Falcons hire him? And I thought it was a really, really good question. So I said, I'm going to throw this to the fellas and see what they have to say.
Does Atlanta have a standard? They don't have much of a standard. They don't. When was the last time that they won well, look, what can I say? I'm a Browns fan, okay? So
Right.
who can I beat up? That's a great question. Rod could probably answer that. And it's going to kind of tie into what I'm going to say at the very end about all these head coaches and who's not getting a look and who's not getting a second chance. Just like Gerard Mayo didn't do well in New England, last year. Has anybody interviewed him or gave him a chance? Whereas Kevin Stefanski was awful, and then within a week, he got hired. So some people get a shot and some don't, okay?
Yeah.
Great question. I'm sure Rod could answer that. But Atlanta, the Falcons, what kind of standard do they have?
Yeah.
So, Diane, it's a great question, and I'm going to answer it simply by asking the fellas this question. Name me the two quarterbacks that Atlanta has right now.
Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, Michael Penix Jr.
Okay, so stop there with Kirk Cousins. Michael Penix is not going to matter. Kevin Stefanski has been wanting to be with Kirk Cousins for many, many years. Ever since his time in Minnesota, he wanted Kirk Cousins. He tried to move heaven and earth to get Kirk Cousins to come to Cleveland, and the Browns would not give up the draft capital for an aging Kirk Cousins. So don't find it coincidental that he is in Atlanta because he wanted to reunite with Kirk Cousins. That is the most success that Kevin Stefanski has had in the NFL was with Kirk Cousins. However, Matt Ryan, former quarterback of the Falcons, is now the general manager. I don't really understand his thought process in terms of hiring Stefanski after Stefanski won 4 games in 2 years. That doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't.
Okay. Number 2, I feel, and this is just Coach Young's opinion, you have put Kevin Stefanski in a hole. Why? Well, Atlanta is predominantly African-American. Who is one of the legends that played for the Atlanta Falcons? His name was Deion Sanders, current coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. And they're already in an uproar. I've heard sports radio in Atlanta. They are in an uproar and angry at Matt Ryan for hiring Kevin Stefanski because they feel that he's going to do to Michael Penix what he did to Shedeur Sanders because he wants his quarterback at the helm. So, to answer your question, like I said, which is a great question, I think Atlanta understood that Kevin Stefanski was the only coach that they could actually get. Okay.
Okay.
And Kevin wanted to get back into the mix of it quick. Kevin didn't want to take time off because, and eventually Kevin Stefanski had talked. Don't be surprised when Kevin Stefanski throws Andrew Berry up under the bus.
Yeah, he will.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he will.
Don't be surprised when that microphone
will.
hits him and
Yeah.
he says the Shador thing, the Dylan Gabriel thing, all of that. It wasn't my call. I'm just the head
my
coach.
call,
It
yep.
was the
Yep.
GM's call. But to
Yep,
answer your
yep.
question, yes, it's because he wanted to get back with Kirk Cousins. That's
Mhm.
one of the reasons that Atlanta Falcons job interested him.
Yeah. And didn't Baker take a snipe at him too, saying, "Hey, I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
wait to
Baker
see
sure
you
did.
twice a
Baker
year, coach.
sure
Can't wait
did.
to see
Baker
you." Yeah.
Baker went ahead, but here's the thing with Baker. Baker got stopped in his tracks because he shot a shot at Kevin Stefanski, and Joe Thomas shot a shot at Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
Joe
Yeah.
Thomas came back out because Baker Mayfield said he claims that Stefanski never called him or texted him when he got traded. So he made a statement of, I was just thrown away like a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Joe Thomas came
Huff
back and
cleaned that
said,
up. He cleaned it up. He
phone
cleaned it up.
call goes both ways, Baker. You could
Right,
have called.
right.
So, and Joe Thomas is not a guy that gets himself in the middle of anything.
He doesn't.
So
No.
for Joe,
And he's a
so for
straight
Joe
shooter and a solid
Thomas,
dude
yeah.
too.
So
Yeah,
for
Joe's a
Joe
solid
Thomas
dude.
to say something, then that was a serious thing. But no, Diane, great question. That's why
Yeah, it
Kevin is in Atlanta.
Yeah, please know, Atlanta Falcon fans, that the whole Kevin Stefanski experiment is going to fail. He's going to have some seasons sprinkled in there where he does pretty decent. The Atlanta Falcons has a pretty decent roster, but Kevin Stefanski is not. He has shown, even with his 2 Coaches of the Year awards, he has shown that he's not well-rounded enough to be a consistent, successful coach in the NFL. You know, fellas, sometimes people just interview well. Kevin Stefanski comes across really impressive. He's a great talker. Hell, we've got a great talker up here in Minnesota in Kevin O'Connell. I mean, you talk about word salads. I mean, Kevin O'Connell will give you a word salad all day long. These guys are really impressive when you get them in the room. You start talking about football and their vision, but it doesn't make them a great head coach. So
Gotcha.
Atlanta Falcons, I feel for you guys because you don't know what you are getting.
Gotcha. They'll
But-
see though. They'll see.
Yeah, we'll
They'll
see.
see.
We'll see. But I do know what we will be getting in a few minutes. We will be getting an update on some missing people out there.
Oh yeah,
Come
there's
on.
some people. There's some people missing.
There's some missing people out there. We got the cap. We got the cap with his
Y'all ready? Y'all ready?
P.
B. All right, I got a whole bunch of them on the list, and one of them's
Uh-oh.
gonna surprise you. One's gonna surprise you. Let me start with Michael Irvin. Where you at, Michael Irvin?
I
Where
don't
you
see it.
at? Where you at, Hall of Famer? Where you
Uh.
at, Michael Irvin? Yeah, looking for you. 1-800 call the cap. Michael Irvin is missing. Same thing with Hurricane fans. You let those snowbirds from up north in Indiana come invade your stadium. You let those snowbirds from Indiana take over. Miami, that was supposed to be a home game for you. But hey, you look in those stands, everybody was from the great north, especially the state of Indiana. So I'm calling them out. Also, too, C.J. Stroud, where you at? APB. C.J.
Go
Stroud,
Bucks.
APB. He
He's
was
a Buckeye.
awful.
He's
Yeah,
a
I know,
Buckeye.
and it pains me to come after him, but I got to. What, 6 turnovers in the last 2 games in the playoffs? He was terrible. C.J. Stroud. Another one. Josh Allen, where you at, Josh Allen? Where you at? There was no Joe Burrow, no Lamar, and no Patrick Mahomes. This was your clear shot to get to the championship, to get to the Super Bowl. And what did you do? You turned into a pumpkin. So Josh Allen, where you at? And last but not least, I got to look in the mirror. Captain, you are 10-4 in Mystery Browns. You let Rod beat you. Where is the captain? Where's the captain?
cap?
Where's that guy? Hey, you've been watching sports when Rod was running around riding a big wheel and playing jacks with his female cousins. And he's leading you 10-4 in the mystery brown. Cap, where you at? 1-800, 1-800, where you at, Cap?
Oh,
And those are
man.
my APBs, even with the darn captain. There you
Oh,
go.
man.
There you go.
Oh, man.
There you go.
The Cap brought it today with the
Man.
APBs.
PB.
If you see any of them, including the Cap,
That's right.
don't approach
Don't
them.
approach them. They're
Don't
dangerous.
approach them. They're dangerous, man. They're dangerous. APB. Great job,
PB.
Cap. Great job, man. Great job.
All right.
All right, it's time for our start one, bench one, cut one, erase one, and it just so happens this is Cap's
It's
week
Cap's
2.
turn, so Cap's up again. Okay, this week, I was going to go a different direction, but I said, no, let me keep it to sports. What we're going to be looking at is iconic venues, stadiums, and arenas, okay? Past
Ooh,
Okay,
and
that's
present.
good.
I like it.
Iconic venues, okay? Past and present. And we're going to start with the LA Coliseum, okay? The home of the USC Trojans,
Okay.
the LA Coliseum. Next, we're going to go over to the north side, Wrigley Field in Chicago, the north
Okay.
side, Wrigley Field. Next on the list, we're going to go to L Train's backyard, Lambeau Field, Lambeau Field, L Train's backyard. And last but not least, we're going to the Bronx and Old Yankee Stadium, okay?
Okay.
Old Yankee Stadium. So those are this week's start one, bench one, cut one, erase one, okay? LA Coliseum, home of the Trojans, Wrigley Field, Lambeau Field, and Old Yankee Stadium. What you
Okay,
got,
just to
fellas?
clarify,
Mhm.
what's the criteria?
The
Cap?
criteria is, the start one is the best, and
Yep.
erase is the least.
I got you. Okay.
Yep, there you go.
This is tough.
Yep.
This is tough.
I can go first if you want me to.
Go ahead,
for
High
it.
Rod.
All right, so I'm going to start. My number one is Lambeau Field. I mean, that speaks for itself. I still see Bart Starr, the tundra of Lambeau Field. John Facenda, So Lambeau Field is my number one. Number two is Yankee Stadium. I mean, watching Reggie Jackson hit bombs out of there when I was a kid, you got to deal with Yankee Stadium. Number three is Wrigley Field. Wrigley Field is, iconic.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have to erase the LA Coliseum. This tough. Tough. So I went Lambeau, Yankee Stadium, Wrigley Field, and then the LA Coliseum.
All right. All right, L Train.
I can't argue or debate any of that, Hot Rod. That's a good start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. I am going to start Old Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
I think that's a very, very iconic venue. I am going to bench Lambeau Field. I couldn't start Lambeau Field because all of my subscribers for Unconventional Playbook would unsubscribe.
That's right.
if I did that.
That's a smart move. Smart move.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so I had to go Lambeau Field as a bench. I would cut Wrigley Field. Again, just another iconic venue, lots of history there. And I would erase the LA Coliseum. I had a hard time doing that because everybody
Yeah.
thinks of the LA Coliseum in terms of football, but you're talking about
Right.
the Olympics has been
Oh,
there,
yeah.
so many
Yeah,
iconic
absolutely.
events,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
so but that's my start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. Real good one, man. Real good
Okay,
one.
okay. It's something. Hot Rod and I are exactly the same, I believe.
All
I'm
right.
gonna start, Lambeau Field. Go start the old frozen tundra. If you all ever hear the on the field that game where they played against Dallas, I guess in the Ice Bowl, when
Yep.
they
Yeah.
told the coach, to play, he said, let's run it and let's get out of here. Okay. He said, I don't care what y'all do. Let's run it and get off this field. It was so cold out there. So
That's
yeah,
right.
Lambeau Field, I'm a bench Old Yankee Stadium. I think like Hot Rod said, I'm a cut the Northsiders, Wrigley Field. I can't stand the Cubs. They beat us in Game 7. Okay. But I got to cut them. That's an iconic venue. And, if I had to erase one, it would be the old Trojans, LA Coliseum. It would be
Yeah.
that one. Okay.
Yep.
So that's mine.
Yeah.
But Hot Rod and I were spot on.
Real good.
Mhm.
We've been agreeing a lot lately on these
We
start
have.
one, bench one. A couple weeks ago, we were all in unison.
Sure
Yeah.
were.
So okay,
Yeah.
great minds think alike,
Think
fellas.
alike.
Great,
Yeah, yeah.
great minds think alike.
There you
All
go.
right, it's time for our parting shots, fellas. What do you got?
I'm going to hit it up. When the season ended, there were 10 coaching vacancies, I believe. Was
Yeah.
it 10? Total of 10?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, something like 10. Okay. Not one African American, was in the running. Okay. You got a league that's 68%, between almost 70% African American. Okay.
Yeah.
And you mean to tell me that there's no, black coaches out there that can fit the bill? You can YouTube the late Jimmy the Greek. 25 years ago, he said, hey, yeah, most of the players are black. You got to save some jobs for the white guys, okay? And I don't know if he was joking or being serious, but those were the words out of his mouth. Jimmy the Greek,
Yep.
you can YouTube and Google it, okay?
Yeah.
Hey, just think in hockey, in hockey, which is predominantly white, let's say if most of the coaches were black. That would not sit well at all, okay?
No.
So again, Kevin Stefanski was terrible. And what did he do? He got another job in a week.
Quickly.
Gerard Mayo, quickly. Gerard
Yep.
Mayo, he may never get another shot at it, okay? So you can't tell me that there aren't any qualified black candidates out there. And the only way that this thing will come to an end, if the players just say, hey, you know what? We're taking our helmets and we're not playing until you all get us a black coach. What happened with the Clippers organization when Donald Sterling went rogue? Those
Yep.
players walked off the court. And right away, he lost his team, okay?
Yep.
So the players have the power. And until the players, do something about it, nothing's going to change. The only person, Hot Rod addressed it yesterday on his show, and the only person at the national level I hear is saying something is my guy, Rob Parker. He's the only one that's bold enough to say something about this. Nobody else at the national level is saying this. So, hey, come on, NFL. You got to do better. Got to do better.
Got to do better, man.
Yep.
Got to do better. That's a good one, T. Great
Real
job.
quick, the Rooney Rule was instituted in 2003. There have been 22 head coaching positions that have been given out. There has only been one African American or one minority who in that since 2003 who received a job, and that was Mike Tomlin by the Rooney family. Okay,
Wow.
so that lets
Wow.
you know that this rule is a joke. But that's a good take. My take is on the hilarious side. Do you guys know that the Buffalo Bills are interviewing Phillip Rivers for their head
I
coaching
saw that, man.
position?
Come on, Rod.
I mean, come on, guys. Are we serious right now? Not Phillip Rivers has no head coaching experience in terms of the NFL. He has no head coaching experience in terms of college. He was a high school coach, like myself. He was a high school coach. And so, to me, that is a joke. And it also extends, once again, as T so eloquently talked about when it came to the Rooney Rule. So you mean to tell me that Phillip Rivers, let's talk about Sean McDermott. You're going to possibly get rid of Sean McDermott for Phillip Rivers. And you think Phillip Rivers is a better option as a coach than Eric Bieniemy, than Byron Leftwich. Okay, I don't get it. This doesn't make sense to me. Okay, where you can just come out of the woodwork. Yeah, he came back a second time. Yes, he's an NFL quarterback. I know, a lot of our fans, well, he's an NFL quarterback. How would he not know how to head coach? There is a difference between being a quarterback and being a head coach. Okay, there's a whole difference. And so to me, it just looks like you got rid of Sean McDermott. And now they're interviewing other candidates, but Phillip Rivers, come on, Buffalo. Let's come on, Buffalo. We got to be better. We got to be better.
Got to be better than that. Got to be better than that.
That's
That's
my parting
another.
shot.
That's another good parting shot, man. Another good parting shot. My parting shot is this, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at my parting shot and my take on this parting shot. But, you know, I believe the stars are aligning, fellas. And when there's smoke, there's fire. When you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, they have been underwhelming this year. I think the expectations were high. You got the Indiana Pacers. They had a major injury where the expectations were they weren't going to be the same Indiana Pacers team. The Boston Celtics had a major injury on their squad. So long story short, the window was wide open for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They had their whole team intact. And so far this season, they haven't been garbage, but they've been unimpressive. They've been inconsistent. Well, Stephen A. Smith made some comments this week about who should cut ties with the Los Angeles Lakers and come home. And I see the look on Hot Rod's face, but I'm just going to tell you, you all know I'm not the biggest LeBron James fan, but I see the way the Cavaliers are struggling. I think LeBron James has been kind of underwhelming for the Los Angeles Lakers this year. For Stephen A. Smith, who is not a fan of LeBron James, they actually have a beef. And Stephen A. Smith really doesn't say anything good about Cleveland. For Stephen A. Smith to come out and say the Los Angeles Lakers need to trade LeBron and have him come back home to Cleveland. The one thing I know about Stephen A. Smith, whether you like him or don't like him, he's pretty tied in. And when he says things like this, it's not coming from him. He's probably hearing some things. So my parting shot is, Cleveland Cavaliers fans, do not put this out of your realm of thought. LeBron James, before the end of this thing, before he retires, could be back in a Cleveland Cavaliers uniform. And I know Hot Rod would love to see that.
Yeah, he would.
That's my parting shot.
Wow. Say something, Hot Rod. Close it out.
My mother said, if you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all. So we would be on here for another half hour if I wanted to talk about that. So that is L Train's parting shot, and I will keep my mouth shut.
We will designate a whole show to that topic. We'll have a sub show on the locker room, and then we'll have another sub show on unconventional playbook. That's what we'll do on the LeBron James subject.
Yeah, because I've already written my mental notes for the locker room when it comes to this subject. So tune in on Saturday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I will talk about what L Train just made his parting shot.
Well, fellas, another great show. I appreciate you guys. This is 3 the Hard Way. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Continue to help this thing to grow. Also, check out the locker room when you have the opportunity. Hot Rod, keep putting that thing in the description or in the comments, man, so people can link it up and help that show to grow as well. Well, fellas, another great week, man. I appreciate you guys.
All right, y'all fellas have a great week. Be safe out there. Be safe, 3 the Hard Way Nation, and come on back next week.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yes. Hey, everybody in Cleveland, stay warm.
Yeah, stay warm.
Stay warm, man.
Stay warm.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
All right, y'all.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.